I'll give you guys a little introduction to my life. Welcome to my world, right? My name is Jeremy Quiroz. I am 24 years old, and this is a little bit of my life story. I I grew up. I was born and grew up in Mexico, at least for my childhood years. I was born in Mexico City, and I probably lived there for about a year before I moved to Baja, different state in Mexico. Further north is it's neighbors with the state of California here. But anyway, so yeah, I was my early childhood years. I lived there, really close to the beach. So ever since I was little, I've been able to just basically see all kinds of things. I grew up knowing a lot of things, which because I've moved around a lot. I remember, I probably lived there for maybe 6-7 years, and then we moved back to Mexico City. So yeah, and I remember I grew up. Even my dad would always like to take his just see different places. He had a job, a sales job, and when me and my brother were little, so we would get to travel a lot. He just liked traveling. I remember growing up with my brother. Him and I, we were like a dynamic duo. We did a lot of things together when we grew up. The traveling included, as was just about everything, going to school, doing activities and games and church and everything. It was like we were like buddies. So it was cool. It was like I always had a friend with me, which kind of brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which it was like basically I just want to say that jumping a little bit ahead of my life, it just after we both went our ways, once we both left on our missions, and then we came back, he got engaged, and before I came back, so it was definitely kind of a adjustment, and and it was a little weird at first, the fact that we weren't doing things together anymore, and and I knew it was gonna be like that from now on. We still see each other, but it's not the same. So but I do cherish those moments, and I remember those stories. I'll remember those forever, of course. He taught me a lot. He being the oldest, and he got to learn and go through things before me, right? And but he kind of like showed me the way, and so it was kind of cool too. I always liked that and appreciated that from him. Is that kind of like let him to be a leader. He's kind of taught him that, but yeah, it's just that's us, a dynamic duo. And I remember even going to church. It was like they would always talk about the Quiroz brothers, Jeremy and Kevin. Oh, what are they up to now? Will they be getting in trouble, or or messing around, or just just playing around. Like, people really liked being around us just because we like to have fun always. And that was that. Those are some of the best memories that I have from being with him. Is just go around and just having fun together. Kind of an interesting story now from my childhood too. I always get this from my family and close friends to the family too. They remember how when I was little, had a really kind of a big temper. um, I'm a lot better with it now, but thinking back, I do remember always being or getting irritated pretty easily. And my mom tells me that even when I was a baby, when I was little, I would always get upset for things, and yeah, I remember my grandparents and my parents like just teasing me because I was like, comes Angry Jeremy again. And until today, you can still kind of see some of those traits, but it's nothing. It's nothing too bad. And in a sense, I feel like it makes me unique, because everyone can recognize that and pick that up. Like, oh, watch out with Jeremy. You don't want to make him mad. I'm a really nice guy, but for the most part, but when it comes to if I lose my temper, sometimes it can be a little bad. But yeah, I remember just like, my mom, she would tell me that I would like, if my uncles or friends were teasing me, like, I would get so upset, and I just try like started throwing stuff at them, or just yelling at them. And they're like, calm down, man. They're just joking around. But now, which is kind of funny because I like to be a pretty funny, goofy guy too. So it's kind of like an internal conflict. But I just always thought it was funny, the fact that I would get upset, and that was like one of the things that my family would tease me about. It's one of those things that, it's just one of those traits that one of the siblings always has, so that was me. But like I said, I'm a pretty fun guy, pretty nice guy too. That's just one of those recessive genes, I guess, or something. I don't know. That temper. But I think it is in the family though, because I remember my grandparents, they get pretty upset sometimes too. But so I think it's a family thing. But anyway, yeah, that's a little story about that. My brother and I, we were pretty active kids. We were really energetic, jumping around and jumping off places too. Sometimes my mom would be scared, like, we're gonna break something, or either from the house or break ourselves. But one of the biggest ones, of course, brother and I always loved, and I grew up playing soccer. This was my brother. I wasn't really big into other sports at that time, but it was either soccer or martial arts, or I was always interested in extreme sports too. It's like it was skating, or I always wanted to try snowboarding, but I didn't have the chance to until later on in my life. But when I grew up, we played soccer. I always wanted to join a team, but my dad, the only teams that were available when I was little, they would only play. They always had games on Sundays. So growing up a member of the church, I always was taught, and I had to learn to understand that you don't really do a lot of recreational activities on Sundays. because it's the Sabbath and have to find ways to keep it holy. So the teams I always wanted to join, they would always play on Sunday. So my dad didn't really support that idea. So I kind of just, it was mostly church ball. Just play soccer at church with some buddies or just friends, get together and play. But that was growing up. Mostly when I grew up, my brother and I, like I said, we did a lot of things together. One of those things was we joined this karate class. That went out for a few years when I was younger. It kind of got me off the. It kind of kept us active, just like my mom wanted. It release all the wiggles or the energy, And instead of punching my brother, we go punch a bag, and we wouldn't try to fight each other. We still did. I mean, as siblings, don't do that, right? But I'm sure it avoided a lot more fights that could have happened. But anyway, so it actually got pretty fun. Not gonna lie, I wasn't too good at it. My brother was better, but it was still fun to go around because we had competitions sometimes, and they were out of state. And so, I remember that was fun, just going on those trips and going out of state and going to the tournaments. Sometimes it was in cities that were near the beach too, so we were like super excited to go to the beach, and it was fun, and just to get to see new places. Since I was little, we traveled a lot because of those reasons, right? Which was really cool. I really like that. I guess that's kind of what. Up until this point, I still like to travel and to go exploring, and because I even remember doing that. Like my brother and I, we went exploring a lot. Just either we go and go on bike rides and just go look for new places, or you go climb things and but sometimes when I come home, it's like super late. My mom was really mad. But anyway, so yeah, this was a big thing doing growing up, just exploring sports. And then after that, I remember. My brother and I started getting into music a lot too. I would say when I was about 11, 12 years old, we started getting into, we really like rock bands, and we wanted to start playing instruments, and it was really cool. I mean, my mom always pictured us as, like, yeah, if you guys are going to play instruments, learn how to play piano, play all this church hymns, and play classical music for us, But my brother and I were more like, nah, we really like the loudness, like to get crazy with it. And so, yeah, we started taking a couple guitar lessons in middle school, like a little bit before, my teenage years. Just started getting into that. I remember him and I, we got a couple of guitars. I think my grandparents or my parents, they bought the guitars for us. And they weren't brand new. They were like hand downs, I can't remember where they got them from, but that ain't matter to me and my brother. We were like super excited and super happy. I was like, yes. You finally get to learn one more thing that we love, or that we like. And so we started with that. We I remember even going to this rock band concert when I was little. We it was so funny because my brother and I were like so committed, and so we were all said that we were gonna be able to go to this concert. And like maybe like a month before the band showed up in town, in the radio they started announcing they were gonna show up, and that you could win free tickets if you were one of the lucky ones who call in and guess 3 songs they played in the past hour or something. They always have contests like that. And so I remember somehow we that one day we just said like, okay, today we're not gonna do it. I know my mom told us we had to clean up, but I don't care. We're just gonna sit down in front of the radio right next to, and we're gonna bring the phone right next to us too, and we're not gonna rest until our call goes through and we get a chance to win those tickets. And so we did that, and we were there, and then the time the contest came up, and I remember like we called in, like we just rushed to the phone, and we just picked it up super fast and just dialed the number. It's like, oh man, I hope it goes through. And we hear it ringing, and I don't know, we just hear our voices on the radio. And we're like, oh, what the heck, we're in. We're in. So all right, you guys get a chance to win the tickets, and what are the songs? And we told them the names of the songs, and we won 2 tickets, exactly 2 tickets. One for him, one for me. And like, forget the rest of the world, like we'll find a way. We'll walk to the arena or wherever this concert's gonna happen. Like, I don't care, we didn't even think about like what would our parents say, But so anyway, we hung up the phone. We're like super excited, screaming, just jumping around the place. Yeah, if we're gonna go see our favorite band play in town. And my mom comes home, and it's just like, you're like, look, Mom, like we won these tickets. Like, it's insane. Like, can you believe this? Like, we're so cool. Like, look at you, 2 kids. We accomplished this. She's like, oh, that's awesome. And who said you guys could go to the concert? I was like, are you kidding me? There's no way you're going to keep us from going to the concert, But so after a lot of begging, a lot of, sweet talking, and then doing the chores for like the next week without complaining, and, keeping our rooms clean, and I kind of bringing breakfast to their bed, she finally agreed to let us go. There's a couple conditions, a couple things that we had to do in order for us to be able to go still. Like, you guys, as soon as the concert's over, call me, come pick you guys up. Because we were still little. We were probably I was probably like 11 years old, or 12, and my brother was 13, something like that, 11, 12 years old. So we're kids, We're my mom, she's like being so she's always so nice, and she always wants to make us happy. But so she agreed to let us go, and even though she didn't have a ticket to go with us, but we go in the concert, and she's waiting for us, and I was like, as soon as the concert's done, you guys gotta come out here and go home. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And so anyway, yeah, that was a really good story, a good memory. It was funny. And I said, my brother's there again. You see, we did all these things together: sports, music, adventures, exploring. It was always the 2 of us. And it went on like that, even later on throughout our lives. We kept playing. Till today we still play. We play guitar. We get together from time to time and play some songs together. We have a cousin that plays the violin too. Sometimes we would join in and we'd play along some songs, and it's just fun. Our family really likes music. And So it's kind of like one of those things that we really, it's kind of like a family thing too. My sisters sing, my mom sings. The only one that doesn't really have anything to do with music is my dad. He'll listen to us, but he doesn't really join in, but it's okay. But yeah, those are some of the things that some of the hobbies, some of the things I like doing as I grew up. We as family, like I said, we always travel a lot. We didn't travel a lot, but if something big was going on, like a big trip was going on, it was, I remember the whole family being there, and so that was always fun. It was good memories. Either go see in a city or go to a water park or in a different state, just road trip it, and it was thanks to my grandparents too. That was another big thing. I remember being both sets of grandparents. They were always there a lot when I was little. They're a big part of my life. I mean, I'm sure they are for everyone, but for some reason, I just feel like they were there a lot, which is cool. I really like both of them. They're and it was because of them. Like we would go and see all kinds of places too. They really like to go and show us around, and so we did that a lot. In Mexico, so many cool places. Like there's more than just desert and hot weather like the TV or the movies picture that, make it seem like there's a lot of cool places. There's waterfalls, big lakes, there's rock climbing, there's kayaking. There's all kinds of places, like beaches. Like Mexico has some of the best beaches in the world too, and so I remember visiting some of those places. And it was because my grandparents always, and my parents too. That was we grew up in the at least the group of friends that I grew up with at church or just the people that we knew, family friends. They always like to go camping too. I like the outdoors. I remember having this really good friend. His name was Aaron. He was the bishop in a ward, but he was always involved with the youth activities because he really liked the outdoors and going camping and going exploring. And like my brother and I didn't have to ask this twice because we always did that when we were little. We liked to go exploring, And so I remember going camping with the youth groups or with a group of friends. We would go out camping, and just having bonfires, roasting marshmallows, and it's pretty normal to me. It was fun. So yeah, it was either road trips or camping or the outdoors, Also, just another big thing is when holidays came around. It was like a big thing for a family. It was just a good excuse to get a big group, a big celebration going on. Whether it was Christmas or someone's birthday or a local celebration or Independence Day, things like that. It was New Year's, it was just always get the whole family and have a big feast or big party going on. I remember always being really excited because I just love seeing my family together, and us like playing games and joking around, and just listening to my uncles or my grandparents, or just joke around. I thought they were the most hilarious people in the world. But it was just a good time, seeing everyone together, and we're eating dinner together, and just light up some fireworks after that. And after that, we watch a movie, or we sing, or karaoke is a big thing. Like I said, musical people. It's always karaoke. And we would go from cheesy 80s songs to mariachi or some Spanish songs that everyone loves. We are pretty multicultural, diverse. We don't family. So we try all kinds of things, but yeah, and so it's just fun. Like, there's a lot of dancing involved too. Latinos like to dance, so every celebration or party was going on, there was dancing involved. But it's fun. Like, all those things combined, I feel like it brings a lot of good memories. It created a lot of good memories and good times. Super loud family. Yeah, that was one thing that I remember. Everyone, grandma's loud laugh, or just everyone saying cracking jokes, but like being super loud. But yeah, it's the family times. I remember 6th grade. I just turned 12 years old, and that day, one of those days, I decided I wanted to go and spend some time. We were gonna go over to my friend's house after school, just go play some video games, or just do things kids do, right? Play some soccer or something. But I remember every day seemed like a normal day. We kind of had like a school party that day too, so super happy. We had food, bunch of candy, and after that we're gonna go to my friend's house. We're gonna spend some time, just play games, at my friend's house. And I remember after we got bored with the video games, we decided to go look for something more interesting to do, something more extreme, something more fun, and that included a staircase that took, and at my friend's house, that it was kind of like a spiral staircase. So there was this spot where you could jump on and then cling onto it and just swing from it, and then jump off and land into the first floor, right? And it wasn't even that tall, but I mean, if we all know physics, right? The more force you apply, the harder you hit the ground, right? So I remember we were challenging each other, my friends and I, and it was a turn for me and this other friend to jump onto this little ledge and cling onto it and start swinging off, and then see who could land the farthest. And so I was like, okay, I'm down. Let's try it. It's all fun and games at first, right? But so my friend, he clears it. He lands perfectly. He slips and falls, but it wasn't that bad. He's still able to land it well, and nothing happened. And then it goes to me, my turn. I go, and I started doing this, and I started swinging, and after the third swing, I just finally let go. I was like, all right, hope for the best, And I land, and as soon as I land, I slipped, but I slipped a lot harder than my friend. And trying to stop myself, I put my right arm right behind me, and so my weight just like rested on my right arm, so my arm snapped in two, just like. I was like, at first, I got up and I was like, okay, something popped. Like, what's going on? And I looked down and I was like, whoa, yeah, that's not normal. There's this huge bump on two bumps on both sides of my arm because it just like snapped into two pieces. I'm surprised it didn't come out of my skin, but I think even the doctors were too. When I went, they always rushed to the ER. Okay, I I remember my friends, they saw me falling. They're like, dude, are you okay? And I was like, no, I think it just broke my arm. But I said it so calmly too because it hadn't hit me yet, and all that adrenaline, you're still not feeling the pain. You still didn't realize what's about to happen, what's coming for you, and so I said it so calmly, like, yeah, I think I broke my arm, and they just laughed. I was like, no, come on, stop joking around. It's like, no, seriously, like, like you see this like weird shaped arms, like, holy crap, dude, like, yeah, like, we gotta tell someone about this. So we told my friend's dad, and then he called my mom. And so my mom had to rush over to my friend's house, and she picked me up, and then they rushed me to the ER, and um, yeah, on the way to the hospital, um, that's when that pain was catching up to me. It was starting to hurt so bad, and I didn't want to cry because I thought I was just a tough kid, like kids, boys don't cry, but yeah, that broken arm. Yeah, it really broke me too, and I started crying, um, but yeah, like, it was pretty shocking in the way, like, going through that experience. I never thought I would go through something. I guess you never think those kind of things, but once you're in them, it's like, what just happened? What's going on? And it was painful, and I was like kind of like bummed out at first, like, man, like I can go play, I can do all these things, blah blah blah, being kind of sad about it, like my friends want to go play and I can't, and but I have to sit at home, but there was also good things, really good perks from it. I got to miss school for like a few days, which for a kid, it's kind of like a really cool thing sometimes, you know. I got to just watch my first shows for a few days, while I got better. And everyone was just helping me out, being so nice to me, They would just bring me food, and my mom was like, oh, pampering me, oh, anything else you need, and I was just like, well, I don't want to ask for too much, but if you bring me some ice cream and, maybe a couple more movies to watch, like, that'd be awesome. Things like that. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those lessons as a kid, that teach you to be a little bit more careful. It wasn't the end of the world, but even though it felt like that at some point, but it was just one of those things I remember the most now. Broken right arm. I said I lived all my childhood years in Mexico. Um, Either Baja or Mexico City. Those were the two places. And almost when I turned 12, about that age, my dad, I remember he was done. He had finished school. He graduated with his bachelor's on business management, and I always knew. He always talked about the idea of moving to the U.S. That was just one of his goals, for himself, for his family. He always knew that there would be a lot more opportunities here in this country. I mean, we always did really well. We were pretty blessed. I remember having everything I needed when I grew up, even living in Mexico. just because they were always hard workers, always they always wanted to provide for my grandparents and my parents. I feel like I always had the support always, and I never like we weren't super rich, but I don't feel like I ever I never lacked anything. They always I had a normal life, and so which is like to other people like that they might think, oh man, it's super hard, for those people that don't live in the U.S. And I mean it is for a lot of people, but I remember I was pretty blessed myself, and but because of that reason, my dad always knew that we would have a lot more opportunities in this country, so. So I remember after that, after he graduated from school, he was working for a company for a little while, doing some business, using his degree, managing this business and a little work for them. But after that, he started getting into the educational side. He started being a teacher at this school. He was teaching English classes. This private school in Mexico, and he did that for a while. And then after that, he got into this certification program from the state of Texas that would allow him to become a bilingual teacher in the state of Texas eventually, if he went through all this certification and went through job interviews and all this huge process. I just remember that started going on a lot at the beginning of not too long after I turned 12. There was this idea that it wasn't just an idea or a goal anymore. It was actually a work in process. And so I remember he was going to the certification, and he had to go to this, had to go to job fairs from school districts in Texas that would come over to Mexico and try to look for teachers that had potential to come over and be part of their program. And I remember my dad, he was like, this is the chance that he had been looking for, and he was really busy at that time. Eventually he got certified. He was able to find a school district that would sponsor him and provide him with a job, and provided us all with the right documentation so that we'd be able to make that transition smoothly and be able to move to the U.S. and start our life in Texas, right? At first it was pretty exciting, the idea of like something new, just the idea of getting to experience new things and learn new things, and coming to a new place is just, you kind of have that excitement, but me being so little too, I had my friends, I had a family, had everything going on in Mexico City, and you don't really when you're little, it's kind of hard for you to really, it's a good way to put it, to realize those things. It's like, okay, we're leaving and moving, and I go to a new place. It's exciting, and I was like, wait a second, my friends don't get to come, my school doesn't get to come, everything else stays here. It's like it just kind of hits you. So at first it was kind of a hard transition. I was still on board with the idea. Of course. I mean, this is right. I mean, we're doing this as a family, so we all moved over here, and had to say goodbye, and and just get ready and prepare myself to start this new chapter in my life. It was kind of scary. It wasn't. Sometimes too, I wasn't exactly sure how I was gonna do it. I mean, I just kind of trusted that my family would help me get through it, which they did. I mean, that's what families are for, right? But yeah, I remember we moved and just started going to school. I was in middle school when this change happened, and it was a lot of just seeing all these new things. It was exciting. It was fun. Things like have a cafeteria at school. You get you have to bring lunch to school. You just make it for you, and you don't get to wear uniforms because in Mexico when you go to school you wear uniforms. You don't really get to wear normal clothes. I don't know where that tradition comes from, but that's how it was, and so that was something cool. I just get to go to school and dress up like any way I want. And I remember particularly being really excited about learning English. I was always really excited ever since I was little because, like I said, my dad he was always really he would always teach us about all kinds of things. It wasn't just Mexican culture, that's all you get to know. No, grew up knowing from all kinds of things. He always really liked the American culture too. So, and he spoke English when he was young too. He went and took English classes and when on this mission he had a lot of companions and he had friends that he would practice with, and he himself he taught English too. So he would teach us a little bit too, and he sent us to a few English summer classes too when we were in Mexico. And so I kind of learned a little bit. I remember when I was little too, we would have trips to the U.S. too, especially when we lived in Baja. We would go over to San Diego a lot, and then we had this big trip one time my grandparents took me and my brother on, where we went from Texas and we visited different states in the U.S., Texas, Colorado, Utah, and went to Vegas and then California and then had back. And then because we had some uncles that were living here already before we moved, so we came and visited them. And I was so I got to know some of the American culture and then just get to be around the English language ever since I was little. And I was always super excited. I was other languages. And I was really excited about that part. I get to learn English, and so that was really cool. That I finally had the chance to do it. This might sound a little silly because I was English. We all grew up and we learn English. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but when you don't speak it, that's a different story. But yeah, I was just fascinated by it. Just like I said, just the fact of learning a different language, it was always intriguing to me, And so now that I had the chance, that's one of the things I was really excited about. In fact, I remember I picked it up really fast. Maybe within the first 6 months, I could speak it really well, and I could understand a lot too. People were really surprised. Wow, really? You sound you sound really comfortable with it, even though you haven't lived in America for too long. It's well, I'm just, I like it, So I have that motivation to learn it. I would even speak English to my dad at home. He was a little bit thrown off at first, but he's it's cool. He wants to learn, So he supported that, and he'd speak English back to me, and I would watch shows in English, like everything, just so I could learn it. And but yeah, those were some of the exciting things. Just meeting new people. I said there's just being in America is just a different culture, and just the cities are different too, and that was fascinating to me too. Like, the fact that I get to see all these new cool places, and just thinking about all the opportunities I'll be able to have here too. Even at such a young age, I already knew what it meant to be over here, and all the things that I could potentially accomplish. And so, but I mean, yeah, eventually it hits you again, and you start missing old friends, your old life, And it was kind of a hard transition for me the first year when those thoughts come back to me, and I'm sure my family remembers this really well. There were times that I even wanted to go back and and just go back to my friends, go back to what I knew, what I was familiar with in Mexico, but eventually it was a big lesson for me to really to teach me to really move on, and to not be afraid, or not necessarily afraid, but not to be opposed to change, to new things. Is one of the biggest things that I got from this experience, and it just taught me to be, a lot more stronger as a person, and to mentally and spiritually, because like I said, it wasn't just, learning the language and getting to know this new culture, and getting to trying to fit in with the kids, and going to a new school, and all those things is you have to deal with. Not only was the beginning of my teenage years, which is kind of like a crucial point for anyone in anyone's life, like it's kind of, you make friends that you grow up with throughout high school, and you want to feel included, and so it was kind of that was something that I had to worry about, something I had to deal with, but at the end, I'm grateful for it, because it really pushed me to grow up, and to really, step out of my comfort zone, and really reach out, and just learn how to be, more of a, kind of to be a stronger person, having to deal with all this all once. But yeah, that's why it's one of the biggest changes, and one of the most important changes as I look back in my life. Just that transition, moving to Texas, and which I now consider my home. Like, I know I was born and grew up in Mexico, but I feel like Texas as a big part of my heart now. They taught me. I learned a lot of things there too, and they just kind of like teach you to have this Texas pride too. When you live in Texas, Texas is the best, It's not. Sorry about the rest of the states. Not trying to offend you guys, but it just is. We even have our own pledge. Texas has its own pledge, to the state, to the state flag, and it's just a different way to look at to be proud of your state and your people, and so it grew up in me, just seeing the country lands, and just the way people act, and just the culture that you find there, it was interesting, and and growing up at that, I feel like it's part of me now too, and so But yeah, that was the beginning of a big change in my life. Life in Texas was good too. Like I said, once I was able to move on from that stage where I was missing my old life and my old friends and everything. I started to enjoy living in Texas a lot more. I embraced it. It was like I said, I ended up really loving living there. The city that we moved in, it was in the middle of East Texas called Tyler, Texas. It's a little town more to the south called Jacksonville, but people know Tyler a lot more, so I always say Tyler. But Jacksonville, Texas is the country of Texas. There's what you hear about Texas country and the cowboy boots and the trucks and the country roads and that southern drawl. Texas, y'all. I you hear that a lot in East Texas. Not everyone, but I do remember several people I went to school with. They would talk like that, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting the whole Texas experience here. It's like sometimes I would see kids that show up with their camo shirts and or jackets and cowboy boots and show up with their muddy trucks from hitting the mud creek the weekend before, hanging out with the friends. That's just how people do it over there, that's what I really like. Like I remember that from Texas is people talking about hunting and fishing and going the outdoors, go mudding and your ATVs and just taking your big jacked up trucks out there to the country roads and people. That's just how they have fun over there, and at first, like I didn't realize it. I just kind of like grew up with it, so it's like, oh, this is normal. But I just started meeting people from other places. I mean, it's pretty common to see those things in several parts of the U.S., but like Texas is just like a bit like a huge thing. It's so normal there, and so their iced tea, barbecue, country music, blasting other people's trucks. It's either that or Mexican music. Those Mexicans blasting their music too. uh, but yeah, Whataburger is it's like Texas tradition, and I came to see why too, because it's a really good place, especially their barbecued chicken tender sandwich, melted cheese on it. Yeah, my favorite. And but yeah, I just that, and like I said, just that Texas pride. That we live in Texas. We love this place. We live from the country lands to the big lakes they have to all the important sites that you see there too, like San Antonio, right? All the diversity and the culture that you see in Texas is it's just kind of like what makes people embrace it and really love that place. But so yeah, I grew up seeing all those things, which is funny. One funny story about it is like at first, being a city boy from Mexico City, going to this country land of Texas, like when people would talk about hunting, all I could picture was like, these guys go still hunting for their food. Like they realize there's stores out there, you can just go buy your food, rather than having to go hunt it and having to clean it up. That's so naive, But like I said, eventually, like once I learned the beauty and the art behind all that, I was like, this is cool. Texas, I love Texas. I know, it's not about going to the store for food anymore. It's just a fun thing to do. But anyways, like another big thing that I remember from my life in Texas is just high school athletics and high school in general. I mean, this is where this was it. High school life. Get to be cool with all your friends, and and talking to all the girls and whatnot. Prom, and just hanging out with your buddies, and it's just high school athletics. It was fun. Since freshman year, I joined the soccer team, and I always wanted to do basketball too, but it went on at the same time as soccer season, and I always play soccer more than basketball, so I kind of stuck to what I could do better, and it was soccer, but I always liked the other programs too, other athletic programs, football or basketball. We go to the games, especially in Texas. Football is huge. It's like a religion. Like if you don't talk about football or do football, then you're from somewhere else, not Texas. But even though I never played, I was really I got into it a lot when I was in high school. I had a lot of friends in the basketball and football team, and just go cheer for them. I can go with my friends to the games and just get wild. And just a good vibe. Like seeing the band play, and just people cheering, and the excitement that they built up. And even for high school games, like those stadiums were packed. It came to football. And it was just fun. It's always a good memory. And like I said, like I joined the soccer team, and high school athletics is just that excitement that it creates to going and playing games with your friends. And, you all practice. You work your butt off to be able to make it to the games, and get in that bus and drive out to different city and play. Sometimes it could be your biggest rivals, and so you do that, and you just stepping into that field. It just feels good, knowing that you dare to do work, to play your game, and it's just fun. Seeing all the lights. And I mean, for soccer, we didn't have that big of a fan base like football does, but it was still fun. My parents showed up, and my sisters, and my friends that were into soccer would show up too. But just the fact that you get to travel with your team, and you create friendships, and you do dumb things, and you're dumb together too. Play pranks on each other. That it's just fun. I mean, there's some pretty crazy things that happen sometimes, but I just try to remember the good fun times. A lot of good lessons too, like a lot of discipline, and a lot of growing too. You just kind of learn to deal with life challenges. I mean, not everything's gonna go your way. Especially when it comes to sports, you learn to take losses, and maybe you didn't perform as well, so you didn't get to play. So you learn to really push yourself harder, to be better, to work hard, to wanted to give the best of you. And I feel like that's one of the biggest lessons that I took from doing it, even though like it was hard sometimes, and sometimes you don't want to deal with it anymore. You want to quit. Like, man, this is dumb. Like, I just want to play soccer. Like, why do I have to learn all these things? Why do I have to do all these things? Why do I have to practice so hard? But there's a lesson behind all that. I mean, and of course, hard work beats talent, or hard work pays off too a lot of the time. So I learned to understand that, and to really, nothing's given to you. You have to work for it and fight for it, and was one of the biggest lessons that I took out of athletics in high school. And not only that, but like I said, it brings you a lot of friends. Like I remember, this is another thing that my brother and I did together. So it was really cool the fact that we got to play together even in high school too. Once we joined the high school soccer team, we both played a couple years of JV, and in our last 2 years of high school, we played varsity. He graduated a year before me, so I only played 1 year varsity with him, but it was so fun. That was one of the, and then just making all these friends from this is sometimes we get together, at someone's house, and it'll be fun, and I remember those fun days, and just competitions, tournaments you get to go to, and get free food too, so but yeah, and just it's life in high school. We had a friend at church, had his own little landscaping little business, and he would go and would mow people's lawns, and sometimes my brother and I would tag along with them and help him out. And I always grew up, just my dad always taught us the importance of hard work and just earning and appreciating the things that you have. And so either he would make us do little jobs here and there at home, and just to teach us to be self-sufficient, and hardworking, and so I was pretty excited when I got my first job. It was just at this local car wash in the city I lived in, and I would go there and I would earn a few bucks here every week, every 2 weeks. But I felt like I was the richest person in the world. I could buy a meal for me and my friends now. So I did that for a little bit in high school. I think it was my senior year in high school. I got this job at this car wash, and I did it my second semester, my senior year, and up until this summer, I finished that, and it was pretty fun. It was pretty exciting. It was one of the first experiences I had with the job, and I had to teach myself to be, to manage my money and feel a little bit more responsible, keeping my job and taking care of my money, And after that, I remember I went and so I went on and graduated high school, and I went to college, the local college, Tyler Junior College, there in the city of Tyler, Texas. It wasn't too far away from where I lived. And that first semester I only went to school, focused on school, but then that second semester I went ahead and got a different job at this cattle ranch in Bullard, Texas, which it was a city in between Jacksonville and Tyler. And that city is it's nothing but country land for the most part, which is it's pretty cool though. Like I said, I got the whole Texas experience here, and just getting this job now made it even more like it. It was just like, we're going to this. It was my brother who had gotten this job first, but then he went on his mission and he told me about it. Like, you can go work there if you want. And so I tried it out, went out there, and I was like, all right, the Texas life, we get to go around this ranch, taking care of things, building up fences, taking care of the cattle, and driving tractors around, chopping wood, and doing all these like country life tasks. It's pretty entertaining. It's pretty fun. I mean, it was hard work. Like the just a lot of physical work. You had to dig holes or just chopping wood and carry it in. And all that stuff it's pretty demanding physically sometimes. you know. But I liked it though. It's fun. I remember like wearing my cowboy boots and some old jeans, putting my cowboy hat sometimes on just when it was pretty sunny out there. I was never a cowboy. It would have been cool, but I like to think that I lived the Texas life because I just learned to embrace it. And just working at this place, it made it more of that of a Texas experience, But anyway, it was pretty fun job I remember having. And yeah, it was just a couple of things that I did. I did about a year of college before I left, about a year and a half, 3 semesters, and before I left on my mission. Trying to get my mind in the right place and my spirituality too. Make sure that I was ready to make that commitment and go out there and serve the Lord, because I knew it wasn't a small deal. I wanted to be a good servant to Him and be able to do a good job. I was always kind of like not scared, but I was a little bit, like I felt like I was pressured to do good, and it's in a sense it's because it's kind of what you're expected to do, but at the same time it was one of those things that I really wanted to do good at. It's one of those things where it's something different. It's my Heavenly Father. I really want to give Him the best that I can, because He's helped me out so much throughout my life. He's given me so much, and I feel like this is one of those chances where I get to give Him back, and I want to do it right, So this year and a half of college, I was working, so I was doing that cattle ranch job gig at the time. But after that last semester of college, I finished with that job. I finally turned my papers in for my mission, and I got my calling, which I will talk a little bit more about or I'll talk more about it in a little bit. But this was one of the most random callings I'm sure there is out there. I'll tell you why in a second. But right in between this time before, I got my calling and just getting those last things ready to finally take off and go on my mission. I remember I moved to the city of San Antonio to go live with my uncle and my dad's brother. He lived down there. So I went down there, and we would always go visit there from time to time, me and my family. Because, like I said, we have family in Texas even before we moved there. So you go see them, go travel around Texas from time to time. So it was pretty familiar going down there. And sometimes we talked about, you should come down here and try it out, and see how you like it. And come spend some time with your cousins and this and that. But I always had, and there was a summer where I actually did. The summer I graduated high school, I went and kind of spent a couple weeks with them. I was like, I like this. I like hanging out with you guys. But this time I had in between, just finished my 3rd semester of college, and before leaving on my mission, I had that. It was like a perfect time. I had to go down there and really, see what San Antonio was like, and just kind of spend some time with my uncle and my aunt, and see just try something new. And kind of going away from home for a little bit. So I did, and I would help around with with their little business they have down there, and just helping around the house and just learning from him. He's a really wise guy. He's he's gone through, and that's kind of one of the big reasons why I wanted to go down there. Just kind of, see how he could help me out. Like I said, it was a diploma. I was trying to get my mind and my spirituality in the right place. And going down there, I feel like it helped a lot. Just hearing my uncle and hearing his experiences, his stories, and he's had an interest in life, and so he has a lot to share, and I really appreciate it. I really came to love that, and so being in San Antonio for that little bit of time, it kind of brought back my traveling, my exploring side out again. I remember there was this one friend from Mexico City, the one that would take us camping and take us, exploring all the time. He came and visited for a little bit, like a few days, before I was going to leave San Antonio and go back home to leave on my mission. And so we were like, all right, one more round, before you leave and life changes again. We went and we kind of explored a little bit around San Antonio. There's a lot more of the city in that area than just the river walk, and so we did, and we decided we were going to go and find new places around. And so we camped out at this place, and we went exploring around this river, and after that we went back downtown San Antonio and did some pretty. We toured the city too, and it's pretty fun. And so that kind of brought my it kind of got me into the mindset like, okay, I'm about to leave on my mission, but exploring and traveling is going to be my thing again. I really want to see new places. Like I said, I grew up kind of doing that, but it just kind of like brought it back to me at that point. And so it was fun. It was a good time being in San Antonio. That little transition between getting ready mentally and spiritually and my mission. I feel like it was like a really good last part that I needed that helped me really feel able and confident to make that decision fully. This is one of the coolest things that I've ever done in my life. I can honestly say that it's one of those decisions, like a lot of people, that made a huge difference in my life, and it really helped me be able to move on to the next part of my life, spiritually, and as well as here, and progressing as a personally, and in my life, like I said, like I was telling you guys earlier, a little bit, the calling that I received, it was the most random, most exciting, / exciting calling and time. I remember, like I said, I turned in my papers, and I was like really pumped already. Just the fact that I was already turned in my papers and this was about to happen. This is real, and it was just kind of like anxious to see where I was gonna go, and what I was gonna be doing. So the mission call came back, and I was like super like ready to open it. Like I was. I remember my family told me, it's like, even if it gets here, you wait to open it until we all come home. And it's like, sure, well. So I remember going to the mail, looking at the mail, and the calling came in. And I didn't tell anyone, but I opened it and I looked at it myself. And I was like, all right, yeah, like, California, I guess that's, up until this point, like, no one knew. Still, like, and I didn't even read the whole thing. I just wanted to see where it was going. So I just like, oh, California, cool. All right, I'll wait for everyone else to come home. Which it was kind of interesting because I remember talking about it, and I was thinking about California would be a good place to go. When I was talking to my bishop and my stake president, I was like, you know what, like, California just seems like a good place. It seems like an interesting place. I feel like I would like to learn from that place. I was like, all right. And there was other options. I wanted to go. I always wanted to learn the Asian language too. I remember saying, like, I would love to learn Mandarin Chinese or Japanese, or even I just want to know the language, even Russian or German or something. And I thought it would be cool, and so. And when I saw California, I was like, I was pretty excited already. Like, yes, like, it was one of the places I wanted to go. I know most people are kind of bummed, like, I'm going in States, but I was pretty excited. Like, everywhere you go, even in the States, it's a different world. It's a different culture, even within that state, But anyway, so I remember family finally gets home, and I was like, all right, like, I was like, I'm sorry, I did open it, but I haven't read the whole thing. I just wanted to see where I was going. Okay, so we can actually, all of us, know exactly what's going to happen. And so I finally, all right, so we all get together, we FaceTime, we Skyped. My dad's more of a Skype guy instead of FaceTime. Anyway, so we Skyped my grandparents and some friends, and actually I think it was just my grandparents and my aunt. A couple people were. Anyway, so I'm finally reading what's going to happen. And so, yeah, I was, in fact, going to California, the California Roseville mission, and I never heard that part of California, but I was all right, Roseville, California, I'll find out more about it. But the interesting part about this is when I got to the language part. A lot of people were thinking, oh, you're either going to go English speaking or Spanish speaking, it's just obvious. And I was thinking, like, yeah, why not? Like, it's probably was going to happen. But I keep reading, and then so you've been assigned to labor in the California Rose Mission. And then I see this funky word typed into, and within the sentence, and it said something like, come on, I couldn't even, like, say it. I don't remember exactly how I said it, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I was like, oh, this is probably a typo. So I just kept reading, and like, California Roseville Mission, you expect to serve for the next 24 months, leaving all personal affairs behind, and all this. And so I was like, yeah, so awesome. I didn't say Spanish, so I think I'm going English speaking in the California Roseville Mission. So I completely disregarded that word. I don't know why, but it just didn't seem normal. So I was like, oh, whatever, it's just probably a typo, And I was like, well, it was, oh, congratulations, Jeremy, that's awesome. But something inside me, like, kept telling me, I was like, no, like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, I'm sure I'm missing something here. Like, what is this? And my dad felt the same way. But he actually was the one that went and researched it. So he grabbed my calling, and I remember he went and grabbed his computer, and he's like, I was like, you say you're going English speaking? It's like, yeah, I mean, like, it didn't say anything else. Like come over here for a second. Like, all right. It's like, take a look at this word again. Like, Hmong, like, what is that? Like, is that a typo? Or like, what is it? Like, and he's like, well, I just Googled it, and I YouTubed some of the videos of what this is, and take a look. And I was like, I just remember looking at this Hmong people. I didn't know who they were at the time. I had no clue what this was at the time. I was like, what in the world is Hmong? And he showed me that, and as soon as he started speaking, I was like, what the heck? Like, what is this? Like, how do you even speak that, you know? And like, I kept hearing it. It was like Chinese on steroids. Like, it was like, something I'd never heard before, you know? And I was like, this is crazy. So, like, I'm going to be speaking this? Dude. It's like, apparently so. I was like, all right. Like, I guess I have to find out more about it. But I was excited. I was like, wow, like, this is unique, you know? Like, California, Roseville, like, in states, and I'm learning this Asian language that is not common either. So it's the fact that I'm learning this language in the States too, and it's not even a language that a lot of people know about. It was pretty mind-blowing. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I mean, I just trust the Lord. I mean, He says that this is my assignment and this is what I'm supposed to do, you know. And so I wrote back to First Presidency, you know, accepted my calling and told them that I was really excited and humbled and honored to be able to be a missionary and be part of this work and help them out, and especially for giving me that opportunity to get to know this new culture and do new language was kind of, you know, I know my Heavenly Father, I know He knows my heart, and He knows what, I know most of the time it wasn't exactly what I asked for, but like, you know, but he granted me the opportunity to be able to go to and learn a new language and then get to know a new culture and you know, be able to see what California was like, you know. And so that was a beginning of a fun experience, and just the whole mission experience was amazing, from the MTC to the mission field. It was a pretty crazy adventure. Ever since it started, I remember I missed my flight the morning I was supposed to leave, so I ended up leaving a lot later than the rest of the missioners that were arriving at the MTC at that time, because they had to reschedule my entire itinerary. I called the church travel agency, and then they put me on a later on flight from Dallas to Salt Lake City so that I could finally get to the MTC. Like, it was like super random because I got there a lot later than everyone else. I think it was nighttime already. It wasn't even dinner. It was past dinner time already. But yeah, and it was different. It was kind of like a little frightening going to the MTC, seeing all these like people, and then still I have no idea what to expect from the Hmong language. But as the days went on at the MTC, it just became more exciting. I was really happy. It was really, I mean, there were hard days, of course. I mean, adjusting to the missionary rules, and, you know, and a new type of life. But I was pretty excited about the Hmong language, about the Hmong people. I wanted to learn more about them, and I feel like I probably made my teachers get tired of me asking so many questions about them. I just wanted to find out so much about them, you know. And how would I be able to do good at this assignment? But I think that's one of the biggest things that I got from my mission is to prepare as much as you can, for sure. Like, you do your part, but at the end you have to you do learn to trust God and have faith in Him. I take that as a lesson not only for my mission, but I'm being able to apply it and see it in my own life too. It was no easy challenge, for sure. It's pretty challenging learning the Hmong language and really understanding their culture and really applying the gospel to them, because is one of the biggest things is that we are taught as missionaries is that we 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 teach people not lessons, and I feel like many times I felt like I'm in the Book of Mormon, going in there and really get to understand these people, learn what their story was, what their how they approach religious beliefs in their own lives. I mean, these people don't even have a Christian background, and where they come from, they had other beliefs, and because of that, I was, I relied a lot on my Heavenly Father and the Holy Ghost to really help me get my message and really have the right words. After I studied and prepared myself, of course, to be able to put them in a way that could, that would go into their heart and not just their ears, and something that would touch them and teach them, and be able to help them understand why this gospel is what our Heavenly Father wants for, is what has for all of us, but being able to do that, not only to learn to be a good missionary. So a lot of things are involved with it, but with the teaching, scheduling, everything that But like I said, learning this new culture and language was challenging. It's overwhelming sometimes. But like I said, I learned to rely on my Heavenly Father and Him giving me that comfort and that peace and that ability and confidence that I will be able to do this if I just trusted Him. And like I said, I've been able to look back on that and use that same knowledge and type of faith into my life now. It's hard, especially being out here on my own now and trying to figure out what path I want to take on my life. But it's in those moments where it's hard, I look back to those experiences I had in the mission, and there were some days like I had no idea how I was going to do it, but God always came through. He showed me the way. And when at the very moment where you feel like there's nothing else left, He shows up and He gives you a little sign here and there, and you're able to keep going, and you find a way. You find this little patch of soft ground you can step on again and keep going, and so it was one of the biggest things, as well as just the love for these people, and just learning to love everyone, and see people how Heavenly Father does. It's just I feel like that was a big lesson for me in my life, because it was always harder for me to be able to really embrace everyone and really love everyone like Heavenly Father did. But I feel like He gave me this opportunity to be able to learn that lesson too, and even my family was able to see that. A lot of people, when I came back, they were able to see that change, and I'm really thankful for that, because like I said, it's helped me improve and grow more as a person, and just really understand His love for me too, and the plan that He has for me, and to really understand that He is there, and I just gotta learn to trust Him, whether He's blessing me with things, or maybe He's withholding things from me too. But I was able to understand that too. But yeah, that was a mission experience, a really big growth spiritually and personally. Just a little bit of background of these Hmong people. They're really interesting group of people, and like I said, just getting to know them helped me understand the degree of Heavenly Father's love for all of us, and how He really takes care of all of his children and not just, it might seem like he only cares about a certain group, but no, like he really knows what all of his children are going through and how he shows his love for them. And because of that, I was able to really come to appreciate and love these people a lot. The Hmong people are, at least here in America, they're a group of refugees. At least the very first ones, the very first generations, they were a group of refugees that came over from Laos and Thailand after the Vietnam War. They were allies with the U.S. The time that war was going on. There was actually a secret war going on in Laos with the communists. And at this time, the U.S. military were training this Hmong people. They're known as the mountain people because they always settle their villages in the mountains of Laos or Thailand or even China. But anyway, this particular group in Laos, they were being trained by the American military, and they were helping them fight back the Laotian army as well as the Vietnamese at the time. And because of that reason, once the U.S. withdrew from the war, all these people, they were left there to deal with that situation themselves, and so they were like, and this is, like I said, this is a small group of people that lived in that area, but I'm not quoting every single fact exactly how it was. This is just the stories that I heard and how it was. Maybe you guys are more interested. We can get a Hmong person to come over one of these days. They can tell you more detail what could have happened. But anyway, so like after the U.S., like I said, they withdrew from the war. These people were there left by themselves to deal with the situation, and so a lot of them were dying. A lot of them were still being hunted and killed by the Laotian army, and so. And the Vietnamese, and so there was this one big leader that everyone looks up to and still remembers, kind of like their prophet, the Hmong prophet, General Va Paul or Veng Pao. And this guy, he was one of the leaders that was within the Hmong military that was, having this, he's the one that would deal with everything with the American military, and so he eventually was able to talk to the U.S. government and sign an agreement or find a deal for them to start bringing refugees over to America because it was just getting out of control, and a lot of people and families were being split up or dying, because of the situation. And so a lot of them, that's how they ended up in America, because they came over as refugees. And they, surprisingly enough, a lot of them actually settled first in the state of Utah. I'm not exactly sure how the story went there, how they ended up here, but I know for a fact that a lot of them started up here, and because of that, a lot of them got to know the church, and a lot of the members a lot of these families that later on moved on to live in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and California. That's where you find a lot of this Hmong people now is in those 3 states, but a lot of them started up here and then later on branched it out. And so a lot of them left here being members, and they kind of helped, start getting that missionary, that work, that preaching the gospel to this group of people. They got that going, got that. And so it was really interesting. Like I said, how Heavenly Father really, he's looking out for his people. He has a plan. Sometimes it's like you don't really understand how it happens or why it happens the way it does, but but you see it work. Like I said, just the fact that they came to a country where freedom of religion it's a huge thing, and where the church is really strong too. It was just, to me, is kind of fascinating, the fact that how things worked out. I mean, I know that not every single monk prison is a member, but at least they're being exposed or being able to learn about it. And they actually quote a scripture from the Book of Mormon in 2nd Nephi, when Lehi is talking to to his family right before he dies, and he's talking about how Heavenly Father helped them come to this promised land because it would be a land where they would have the opportunity to worship their God, and it was because of God that they were, by the hand of God, they were carried over here to this promised land. And he emphasizes how there would be no nation and no person that would be able to come to this land other than by the hand of the Lord. And it's because and the Hmong people knew this. Like it was kind of interesting how they quoted this a lot, and how they look to that scripture a lot, because they can even relate that to it really well. They found themselves here, and then they understood that. I mean, a lot of them do, that it was because of him, And like I said, this just helped me understand and see how big our Heavenly Father's love for all of us is, and how He really has a plan for all of us. Specifically, another big thing from this Hmong people, like I said, it was a big lesson for me, because not all of them were from in a sense, from a Christian background. I mean, a lot of them knew a little bit about it, but not all of them did. It was mostly until they came over here that they were exposed to that a lot more. I mean, a lot of them did, because there were a lot of priests from other countries, specifically from France and Europe, that it came over and actually taught Christianity to them. In fact, that's how the Hmong language was, a written language, was created. It was because of a French priest came over and taught Christianity to them. And he lived among them, and he learned their language, kind of understood how it works, and he kind of created this system with the Romanized characters now. And so some people think that it looks like someone just grabbed the keyboard and started typing a bunch of random words. But it kind of looks like that, but it's actually, if you think, once you understand this system, it's really interesting and fascinating how this guy was able to come up with that, and this is a written language for them. But anyway, so they were a little bit exposed to Christianity, but a lot of them have embraced it more once they came over here to America. But for the most part, I had to deal with this new culture. It was new culture for me, but they call it the old culture. And so it was fascinating to me. It was one new thing that I was learning from it. I mean, I know it wasn't my end goal to learn it, everything about this religion, this culture, but it was still important, like I said, because when you understand these people, when you really try to learn from them and try to embrace who they are too, they can see that you're real, and that and you can see the love for them that you have for them, and not just there to be a robot, and so it was really cool. And I guess expanding a little bit more about what this culture is, they actually believe in spirits. They have this this Hmong, the shaman, this witch doctor, kind of who they believe is the one that can cure them and it can help them from, bad times in their life or sicknesses or whatever, hard situations they might be in or challenges they might be going through. They always call this shaman to come in and help them out, call out the bad spirits and bring the good spirits back into their home, so that their challenges or hard situations would go away. One of the big things is like they are really big into ancestry. They believe, kind of like the Chinese, they believe that their ancestors watch over them. So that's another big part of the shaman, or the job of the shaman, is to keep their ancestors happy, to be able to, so their ancestors would protect them, and watch over them, and have these huge shrines with burning incense or pictures or even food on them too, they have on their doors, they have this like cutouts of like, it looks like little people, and they put it on the door, and it's supposed to keep the bad spirits away from their homes too. Really, really interesting culture and language. When the shaman would have when it was a ritual time, they would have, it was kind of a big event. They make a lot of food, and also they prepare all these. There's a special. There's a food for the guests to come and eat it, but there was also the food that was intended for the ritual too. And then there's the shaman. He would get on this little wooden stool or a bench, and he would start jumping up and down, and he would jingle these bells, and then he was chanting all these words that I don't even know what they mean, because only shamans who dedicate their lives to learning this know how to use those and how they work, But so they were like chanting this and then jingling these bells. It was actually funny. It was a funny story about that, because when I first got into the mission field, I didn't really know what they meant by saying jingling bells. So I remember we were contacting this guy on the street, and he was like, one of my companions was asking him like, "So what do you guys believe in?" It's like, and there he was just like, so like normally calmly, he said, "Oh yeah, we do jingle bells." I was about to like say, and I think I did say, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. We do jingle bells too, like Christmas, Santa Claus, jingle bells, jingle bells." And he was like, "Oh man, you're funny, man. This guy's funny." He's like, No. And then like even my companions were laughing. It's like, "No man, like we'll explain later, but that's not what it means." It's like, "Oh, okay, sorry." But it's just interesting. It's really interesting culture and language and these people, really nice people. They probably would talk back about the mission, talk behind the missionaries' back sometimes, but it's okay, For the most part, they really, that's just kind of how they are too. But they really love the missionaries. They really love how they come over and help, and they offer to help, and with the fact that we speak that language, especially if you're not Hmong. I mean, if you're American, they really love you. I mean, it's already done. You're American, you speak their language. It's, you're in. They'll let you come and talk to them. But for me, it was more of a being confused game, because they're like, okay, this guy's not Hmong, but he's not white either. Like, wow, does he speak Hmong? It's more of like loving me. It was more like, let's find out. Like, how is this Mexican kid speaking our language? Like, it's interesting. And a lot of those people, they've been around Mexicans, especially in California and just in the U.S. So they know the Mexican people are now, but it's still like kind of interesting for them, the fact that how does he speak this language? But yeah, so just sharing. That's a little bit of my experience with the Hmong people. So like they take care of you. They always invite you to eat. I love their food. It's amazing. From a bowl of pho, I know it's a Vietnamese dish, but they really love eating it, and I do too. They make an amazing one. The egg roll was just they have these things called the stuffed wings. It's like some people call it angel wings because they taste like heaven. They're really good. It's kind of like the stuffing for the egg roll. Where they put it inside of a chicken wing, and it's just this huge fat wing, deep fried, and it's just you put the sweet and sour sauce, and it's just so good. Like I miss that. Like next time I go to California, I'll pay you guys to make me some of those. Like or just for a good bowl of pho. Like I say, just their food's good, and they really love the outdoors. And in a way, it kind of reminded me of Texas because they really like fishing and hunting and doing all kinds of, the country life. Because that's kind of how they lived in Laos. It was all about fishing and hunting and surviving. And so they kind of carry that with them. It's just kind of like finishing this up. Just could speak a little bit more to you guys. Cô sa tia cái chấm mong ý khó chứ sinh khó chính kinh hẹn thế cô tranh từ tia tia be lên sĩ cho nó kinh chính nè nó mai ý cho họ kể đó tin hình nó thế cô bảo thế nè cho con nó cô bảo cho nó cho cái lúc đó bây giờ thế cô chúng sẽ đọc lúc cái phi theo lúc sẽ hơi cũng muốn khai thác and đọc lại nhớ thế cái thọ là cái thế thọ là tin này hay này ý khó và yên nhiều nhớ đọc cô lúc sẽ but yeah, that was my experience with the Hmong people. I came home and I was pretty sad to leave the Hmong people in my mission. It was a really good time. Said, like I remember being home and I was pretty antsy. I couldn't really just stay home. I wanted to go and do and get things done. I felt like Texas, it was good to be back in Texas, back at home, but I felt like I would be able to accomplish more and move on with my life by trying something else. Especially coming back from the mission, you're going to be really independent and self-sufficient and just go out there and do things and get things done. And so I felt like I really like being home, but I felt like I needed to go out there and try things on my own still, and so I just maybe I was home maybe for a couple months, 3 months, and then I knew that my cousin already moved to Utah, and he'd been living here for maybe a year, or not even a year, but he told me, it's like, hey man, you should move to Utah with me. We'll try it out. We'll make it happen. I always knew I wanted to even try school over here, so I still wasn't sure where. I was deciding between Utah State, UVU, and even Dixie State University. I had a few friends that went to all those schools. Don't get me wrong, I like BYU, but let's say that I had a pretty crazy year as a freshman in college that I knew it would not allow me to um, be part of the BYU, at least at the moment. I'm still working in that. I probably would like to transfer there eventually. But anyway, so I started looking at some schools. I even came to Utah and for conference right after I came back from my mission. I looked at some schools and just kind of asked around and see what I needed to do. And so I finally decided, I was like, I still want to be in Provo, see what it's like, get to know people, and UVU seems like the best option. So I went ahead and applied for UVU, and I got accepted, and everything seemed fine, everything was going good, and my cousin was able to get me a job here too in Utah, and with this company called Moxie. It's a pest control company. And so I was like, I have a job, I have a place to live. So let's go ahead and give it a shot, So, and now it's been almost 2 years I've been here in Utah, and I just got back to school. I had to wait a year to get residency since I was out of state to go to UVU, and it wouldn't be as expensive. And only that would give me some time to work and save some money and be able to actually get back to school and do things right. But along the way, I was able to learn a lot in this first year and a half that I've been here in Utah, working for this company, Moxie. They've taken care of me ever since I've been here. They've done a really good job. I feel like even though they saw me go through this learning process and just maturing and growing as a person, they've been able to take a chance at me, a shot at me, and help me grow and develop my skills personally, and I've really appreciated that, and just being out here, it's figuring life on my own. It's been good. It's been a growing experience. Sometimes it might seem like you don't know exactly where you want to go, but I feel like it's still been a good learning experience being here, and a growing experience, which is actually shaping me and helping me figure out little by little where I want to head, what direction I want to head with my life, and it's given me the opportunity to try many other things. Like I said, like I was telling you guys earlier, right before I left on my mission, that spirit of exploring and knowing new things came back to me, and I had that idea throughout my mission, and after I came back, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna move out there, so I'm just gonna go try new things out. I want to live and enjoy life, not just live it, and so I feel like being over here is giving me that opportunity. I've been blessed, honestly. I feel like for a kid my age, be able to do or have done all of the things that I've done already is just because, like I said, Heavenly Father knows my heart, and He knows when I'm ready to have certain things, or He knows when I need to go through certain things to be able to get the most out of it, help me progress personally, because He knows exactly where I need to be. But so that's another thing that gives me hope too, in being here, the fact that I've been able to see that progress, even though sometimes I'm not exactly sure exactly what direction I want to head, but He's provided me the way. I said, just working for this company, Moxie, and the fact that He's put these people in my path, and they've taken care of me, and they taught me, and they mentored me, and they have helped me grow personally. It's been a blessing, and like I said, I've been able to travel a lot and see new places, thanks to making this change and making this decision in my life, it's been awesome. I have a lot of friends that ask me, how do you do these things? Like, like you just travel all the time, you do these things. Like it's so cool, and I just feel like it's because I've always put, like my Heavenly Father first, and decisions that I make or I take, and sometimes, they're not the best, but He helps me understand and see where I need to change things and where I need to correct my path, and He brings me back to it, But because I've trusted Him and I put Him first, when it comes to making decisions, He's helped me receive all these blessings. One of the biggest ones that I've had, not like his most recent one, is joining a summer sales program. I joined the summer sales program for this company too, Moxie, and I feel like it was hard work. Sometimes a lot of people can be skeptical about it too, and it doesn't have the best reputation. But honestly, and I was kind of like that at first too. But I guess I decided to give it a shot, and I asked God to help me, get the good things out of it, and learn from it, and honestly, I feel like it's been a blessing for me too. I've been able to learn and acquire a lot more skills personally, just hard work, work ethic, commitments, and just pushing yourself even more. Kind of like when I was high school athletics, it kind of brings you back to that. But this is like a whole nother level, of course, because the sales job is not a walk in the park. It's not an easy job, but I feel like it's shaping me more into the person I need to be, and it's giving me the discipline that I need, and helping me just grow more as a person to really, think outside the box, and really, understand that it's only yourself that limits yourself. And because of that reason, that's why I've been able to. That combined with my mission, I've been able to be brave enough to go out there and try new things and do things that a lot of people would say or think like, man, this is just not how things happen usually, But that's life. It's just everyone has a different path, and like I said, just being part of this program has been able to give me that courage to really step out and try new things, and because of that, a lot more good things have come to me, and just the fact that I made the decision to come out here, it's taught me a lot about myself, about people, about how life is, and to really stay close to God and really seek to understand what plan and what path He has for me, because there's so many opportunities, so many chances out there in the world that it can be confusing, and that's one of the things that I've realized coming here is just there's 1,001 ways for everyone, that someone's life could go, but little by little you find where you need to be and where you need to go, and so those are all the good. All the learning, all the growth that I've been able to acquire from just this little short time period that I've been living here. One of the most recent ones too is I'm an international business major at UVU right now, and my focus is on the Mandarin Chinese language. I gotta give it a lot of credit to the fact that I knew Hmong. I guess that's another huge blessing that came from it. Not only I already like learning language, but just learning that third language, it really gave me that enthusiasm, and then that courage and that confidence to learn one more. Why not? I already know how it works, and So I'm studying that at school right now, and it's been great. It's actually going really good. Can speak a little Chinese to you guys too if you want. 我是一个墨西哥人，会说中文。Just a little bit. 我喜欢吃中国菜 things like that. So but it's been good, and but like I said, I give credit to the mission, of course, and to the fact that to all the growth and all the experience that I've been able to get from living here in Utah and working for these guys, and from the experience I had being part of that summer SOS program, to really understand that sky's the limit, and I'm always in control of my life, even though it might seem like it's not what everyone else is doing. Like there's just you break out of that paradigm, we get into. I've been reading a few books lately too. One of them was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it's all about that. It's actually a really good book, and once I read that book, I could really it helped me make more sense of how all those teachings from those kind of programs apply to your life, and how really you can shape it the way you want. You don't have to be part of that mold, and that's really cool. The fact it's helped me come to learn and experience new things and other things even as my short age, my young years. I'm not too young anymore. I'm 24, but but yeah, it's been my experience here in Utah. I've been happy. I even try snowboarding now. I always wanted to, but I never had the chance. I never lived at a place that you could do it, but now I've been here. I tried it, and it's freaking awesome. I've been going every season that I've lived here. It's been fun. And like I said, there's different things that I'm just trying out, just because I said I learned to know that I can really go out there and achieve whatever I set my mind to, and put my mind to. And just excited to see what's coming, But thanks for the opportunity. It's good to talk to you guys a little bit about my life. It's actually went a lot longer than I thought, but it's awesome. But to really look back and see where you're at, see how much you accomplished. It's good. Thanks to Lifey for the opportunity, and see you guys next time.